Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? This week on the Health by Haven podcast is all about the Bluegrass Half Marathon in Johnson City, Tennessee. We are joined today by my sweet husband, Billy Quinlan. It was his very first half marathon, as well as my 10-year anniversary of distance running. So we kind of break down the race. It's a very untraditional race experience, which you'll learn all about in the episode. But for anyone who's maybe interested in running a half or any sort of distance, who wants to hear both from the perspective of an experienced runner and a first-time half marathoner, you'll definitely want to tune in. And if you enjoy this one, go back to episode 6 of the podcast. Billy comes on and recaps his Queen's 10K race experience as well. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you back on the show next week. Do you struggle to build a community on social media? Do you post day after day without seeing a return on your investment? Or maybe you don't even know what to post at all. Well, what if I told you I know something, or someone rather, that could help? Seamly and Spruce Creative Co. has helped countless small businesses and entrepreneurs grow their online presences and brands with the help of expertly written and customized social strategies. They can help you dial in your target market, expand your reach, boost your engagement, and have clarity around what to post on your social media page. With an extensive portfolio of proven success with their clients, you know you can trust them with your investment. If you want to learn more, follow Seamly and Spruce Creative Co. on Instagram for tons of free tips and tricks, and use the link in their bio for a free discovery call to help you get on track. You can even hear from their founder in episode 10 of this podcast. Now back to the show.
I might get a little unhinged in this one. I'm not sure.
Well, it is your first half marathon, so can't blame you there. Okay, where should we get started? Should we give some background, I guess, as to why we ran this half by ourselves on Saturday, September 29th, instead of Saturday, September 28th, instead of Sunday, September 29th?
Yeah, I'm the one who's going to be unhinged. No, yeah, you should probably give a little background here, because that means absolutely nothing if you don't know what's going on.
Okay, we can share the background. So I registered for the Bluegrass Half Marathon, which was originally scheduled for Sunday, September 29th, 2024. This was the first half that I ever ran, this course, 10 years ago in 2014 when I was in college. It's in Johnson City, Tennessee, which is where I went to college. And so it was the first half I ever trained for and raced. They've since changed the course a little bit, but it's a fun race to do. I've done it several years. Billy's family lives here, so it's an easy and fun one to come and see his family while also getting to run the race, and, you know, low stress, low cost, all of that, which is part of why I like to run it. And then it's fun to run through the college town. So anyways, when I was thinking about what races I wanted to run this fall, that was kind of the thought. Okay, I'll just tack this one on again. It's a fun one I like to do. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years now, my 10-year anniversary of distance running. So it was kind of feeling a little extra special. Do you want to jump in to where you come into play here?
I suppose so. All right, so I have never run a half marathon before. I have run races with Haven and one without Haven even. So that shows my commitment to the game that is running. So this summer we were in New York and I was running a lot and I was like, oh, this is kind of going okay. And I had the dumb idea of maybe I can run further. So I very casually started asking Haven a bunch of questions about like half marathon, what's that all about? And what does it take to get ready for it? like I said, super casual, normal questions to ask your wife unprompted that don't raise any suspicion that I may have a plan to run a half marathon. Fast forward to the fall and, staying casual, I decided, like, yeah, I'm just going to go out on Saturday and run some long runs. Nothing about it, honey. Don't think about it. You want to come with me? How do you fuel while you run? No reason. Um, so about 2 weeks ago, I actually got the confidence up that I could run a half marathon. So I decided to register. But I didn't tell Haven because I was being so casual about it. And she'd have no idea. And it would be this huge surprise when I picked up my race bib and it was like, Quinlan, party of two. Um, yeah. So I decided that I was going to run a half marathon and I just signed up for the Bluegrass Half to run, probably behind, not necessarily with Haven.
It was definitely still a surprise, but I was on to him a little bit. I was like, why is he asking me all these questions about how long should a half training plan be? And like, what are your weekly mileage? And what do your long runs look like?
These are totally normal questions. I don't know what she was talking about. I don't know how she got onto my trail.
It was really when you took the gel. When you took the gel in the long run with me, I was like, okay, now he's training for the fuel as well. But anyways, it was still a surprise, a very sweet surprise. Billy's first half marathon. We ran it together today. So proud of him. He crushed it. But the reason we ran it on Saturday, Billy, do you want to jump in?
Sure. So Haven said at the beginning when she was trying to figure out what day it was and what day tomorrow is, as we're recording this, these aren't all live. It's Saturday, September 28th. And we've both run a half marathon today. The Hurricane Helene turned into Tropical Storm Helene, came through the southeast, as I imagine everyone is probably aware by this point. It did a ton of damage throughout East Tennessee, Western North Carolina. I mean, a lot of areas across the southeast too, but there are a lot of really bad scenes out of the area up here near Johnson City. So the organizing group announced last night on Friday they were going to postpone the race because they didn't want to take first responders and resources away from efforts that have to go on. I mean, they're like rescuing people off of it's really bad. A lot of damage up here. So race got postponed and pushed back to November. So we had a decision to make of, are we going to run it? Are we going to just wait till November? What do we do?
Yeah. So definitely want to preface by saying this is a silly little inconvenience for us that the race got postponed. And obviously there's massive devastation for homes and businesses and families. So certainly agree with the race director's decision to postpone so that all of the police officers that are normally at races directing traffics and the EMS staff working the medical tents and things like that, all of them are going to help, make sure that people are actually safe. So last night we were like, we're literally already up here. We've been training to run this.
Well, at that point, we, in quotes, have been training. I still haven't told Haven that I'm going to run this race.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. You hadn't told me yet. But still, I was kind of like, he was like, so are you still going to run the distance this weekend? And I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I want to. Like, I had it in my head that I was going to do it. We're already up here. It is my 10-year anniversary of distance running. Like, I kind of want to celebrate it with a half again. So that was kind of the thought. But then you told me that you were going to run too. Is your home in need of a refresh? I don't know about you, but I love reimagining and redesigning my space. If you're wanting to liven up your space and level up your decor, be sure to check out Arranger Paints on Etsy. The shop is full of beautiful paintings, many inspired by nature, and all sure to give your home a custom feel. The paintings also make great housewarming or birthday gifts. I've gifted paintings from the shop and have a Ranger Paints artwork in my loft. As a special thank you for supporting the Health by Haven podcast, you can get 10% off your order with code HxH10. You can find the full collection of work at arrangerpaints.etsy.com or scroll down to the show notes for the link. And so that's when we were like, oh, should we run it this weekend just by ourselves? What should we do? And then it was like, well, do you want to just do it tomorrow or do you want to do it on Sunday when it was originally scheduled?
And one of the benefits of doing it Saturday instead of Sunday, my parents make really good meatballs, and I wasn't going to eat them Saturday night before the race because I was like, oh, I'm taking this seriously. I'm going to eat like this nice pasta and vegetable dish that's good fuel and not a big pile of spaghetti and meatballs. So now, hey, maybe we should run it Saturday. I get spaghetti and meatballs tonight.
Priorities. Also, I was going to run the race with our friend Timothy, and now we're going to go to a brewery and meet him for drinks this afternoon. Him and his wife, Hope. Love you guys. So yeah, my priority was I want to drink a beer this afternoon. And that is maybe not advised the night before a race. So yeah, we chose this morning. We roughly did the race course, at least the first like half, but then I didn't want to do the second half of the course. I mean, I guess we can start walking through a little bit of like what the route was and how we felt throughout. Normally, the race starts in downtown Johnson City by the farmers market area, if anyone's familiar. But we parked out by the ETSU soccer stadium and we started there. So we tacked on at least a mile, well, more than that, but before your normal start time. So we did the first part of the route through downtown, kind of behind the old Johnson City Cardinals baseball stadium. I forgot, what's the name?
Doughboys.
I don't think they could hear you. He said the Doughboys. And went through the neighborhoods back there, wove through the tree streets. Shout out to my ETSU friends, tree streets and campus. So that part's always really fun to run through. So we did all of that. By the way, campus looks amazing. It's changed so much since we were in college there. Then we did a loop around like the CPA and all the ETSU football stadium, all of that. And then really the part through the rest of town, I was like, we do not need to do all of this based off of where we started and where we're going to finish. So that's when we just tacked on a little bit of a down and back where we had been prior to get to that 13.1. But Billy, do you want to kind of break down like how you were feeling? Maybe not exactly mile for mile, but like throughout the race, like this was your first experience.
Sure. So obviously this is the longest I have ever run before. So spoiler alert, people, I didn't feel great the whole time. This will also be a shocker to those of you who know Haven quite well. She came out the gate a little hot. I'm not going to lie. She was dragging me through the first probably 2 miles or so once we got like through campus and toward downtown. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel good. Hold on, wait a minute. We're going way, way too fast for me. Haven probably could have kept it up and been fine, but I wasn't quite there. So we pulled back a little bit and then we started snaking through like downtown and behind the baseball stadium and all that. And like, I felt okay. And by okay, I mean fine, if that's a not great adjective for feeling through like the whole first half of the race. Like that wasn't great. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, I didn't really realize it was that early. I mean, I know like at mile 2, you were like, hey, we're going really fast. And I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, you're right. So we pulled back a little bit. I didn't realize like through that whole first half.
This is probably like mile 4-ish. I mean, these are all estimates. I don't know. But around mile 4, when we started coming back towards downtown, I was starting to feel a little gassed because they're like, it's Johnson City. There's a lot of hills and like little ups and downs on side streets that are part of this route that we ran. So it kind of sneaks up on you, I guess. Maybe we had a couple of those in a row and I started to feel a little worn out a little early.
Yeah, that's true. But you were taking in fuel for only the second time. Probably not advisable, people. You probably should practice with the fuel more than once.
No, go in day of, never have a gel before and just have like 5 of them right at the gate. You'll feel fantastic.
Don't listen to him. Okay, well then what about after the first half?
Yeah, I'm trying to think where that was. I guess that was somewhere in the tree streets. Yeah. We hit halfway. I mean, I was already a little worn out from the beginning of the race. So like it was not the most breezy I've ever felt on a run. And like training, I ran like 10 and 11 miles. So it's not like this is a insane jump in distance, but it was a rough one. And then, you know, it was good when we finally got back onto campus because you're kind of insulated from cars and streets and stuff and having to random stop and go sometimes. But yeah, I was emptying out the tank a little earlier than I wanted to. Because I mean, through campus was like miles 7 to 10 or so before we started that out and back to make sure we got our mileage. How were you feeling? Because you seem to be just A-okay.
I was not A-okay the whole time. It ebbs and flows. I've had more practice distance running. So I know that a tough mile doesn't necessarily mean the entire rest of the race is going to be tough. And so sometimes you just have to kind of like mind over matter it. And distance running, like we've talked about, is so mental. Like it's such a mental game. Obviously, you have to prepare physically, but really, like a lot of it in those miles where it's starting to like be a grind and be tough, it's more of like, okay, you got to like grin and bear it and get through it. And I mean, I have to give myself some like positive self talk to be like, it's going to be okay. Like, you've done hard things. You can get through this. I think everyone has to figure out what their inner narrative is to like get through that. So I will say the majority of it, I felt fine. I've had races that did not feel that good at all, but I've had some that have felt a lot easier, like breezy. So it ebbed and flowed. There were some times that you were out ahead of me, that you were definitely pulling me, and I was just trying to focus on my breathing so that I didn't think about like I was getting a side stitch at one spot and things like that.
You're supposed to breathe while you run?
Shocking, I know. But yeah, generally I felt pretty good, and the whole time I was just like, wow, 10 years ago I did this for the first time as a college student. I hadn't even met you yet. It was like a year before we had met. And so it's crazy, like, to think that that girl who was running this for the first time 10 years ago would be back 10 years later with her husband.
With her husband, who for the last like 2.5 miles or so was a good number of strides behind you, just trying to stay upright.
But you did stay upright and you kept going and you finished.
Yeah, it was touch and go there for a second. I thought there were a couple minutes where I was going to peel off and have a bad experience on the side of the road.
But you didn't. Also, I've been telling Billy, it literally took me 8 years to run a sub 2-hour half. He was only 3 minutes from that, his very first attempt. So annoying.
Which is great. It means I have 10 years to take off 3 minutes. That's a good rate.
Yeah, you got plenty of time to do it. And he didn't stop and walk at all, which also took me years to do. I used to walk in races. I've still walked in races sometimes when I need to. That doesn't mean you're not a runner, people, if you have to stop and walk during a race. But he did very well. I was very impressed. So yeah, it was really fun to get to run it together. What was like the thought of why did you want to run this one, Billy?
Well, that's a great question, Haven. You know, as an obligation, as somebody who's about to turn 30, you have to do one of 3 things when you're bearing down on your birthday, and that's like travel the world and backpack through Europe. I'm not doing that. Get married, check, done. It means I need to do something else. And the third option is just run an inordinate distance. So I saw my options as that or backpack through Europe, and I have to go to school on Monday. So half marathon it is.
I think it's an amazing way to celebrate 30 years or any birthday.
I'm 29.
You'll be 30 soon. Like what, 12 days, 13 days, something like that. Okay. Can you tell the people what you raced in today?
Yes, the high-end race kit brought to you by Target. I purchased it in and around 2020. It's a pair of compression shorts, and a sleeveless T-shirt. I wear Brooks Ghost running shoes though. That's probably what you're actually trying to ask me. I wore those today, and they do the job.
Nice. I like it. I can't wear Brooks because they don't work with my feet. But what?
Now I'm thinking about it. I think it was actually the same exact thing I wore when I was on here last time talking about the Queen's 10K. It was the same exact thing.
Well, consistent then. People know you like what you like.
Or I just absolutely hate change.
Now this sounds like therapy session. I wore my New Balance Super Comp Trainers V2. They're a plated daily trainer, so they're not really a race shoe, but I kind of like the bounce in them. I wore them my last 2 marathons, actually. What else? Lululemon Fast and Free running split shorts. I love those things. I only have 1 pair. I've been trying to find more pairs. I cannot. If someone has a black market for these shorts, please let me know. I would really like more than one pair. I race in them almost every race. And I had my Lululemon Longline Energy bra in black under my Bandit running top. I don't know what it's called, but it's the one with the foam pocket between the shoulder blades in the back and the little gel pockets under the arms. Super handy because the spy belt makes me crazy when it bounces. And an Adidas running hat. I think that's everything. Our little Nathan handheld water bottles and goo gels were our fuel. That almost just made Billy hurl. He's still having like, I just ran a lot and my stomach is aching feeling, which happens, people. Yeah. Any last thoughts? What was your first race experience like? Obviously different, like not having spectators and the whole like pomp and circumstance around it.
Yeah, I feel fantastic. I think we should go out and do another one right now. Like, what are you doing in 10 minutes?
Don't tempt me with a good time. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our quick little recap of the half. Will we be back for another recap in November?
I don't know. I'm going to go lay down.
Only time will tell. Stay tuned. Have a great day. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.